Welcome to Season 3 of Hines On Air, a new space for voices with something to say where conversations are recorded and remembered, hosted by Matt Hines.
Coming at you from Atlanta, Georgia, welcome to Hines On Air. Hey everybody, Hines On Air back at you. Look, I want to talk about Venezuela because everybody's talking about Venezuela, and Hines On Air should be talking also. Now, we know this past weekend, Trump invaded Venezuela, took Maduro and his wife, and now has them in New York where they're going to be on trial. So why did he invade Venezuela? Well, this is not a complicated one. He's basically told you he wants the oil. What's odd is that I've heard, haven't verified this, that the American oil companies really don't want to go back to Venezuela. I hear Chevron's interested, but even before this invasion, supposedly he had already been talking with the American companies and they didn't want to be there. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if they will come. It would seem like a pretty good opportunity for them, but we know it's for the oil. He said it. The drug argument to me is weak. I don't know that Venezuela is that big a player. Maybe there's information I don't have. We know that fentanyl doesn't come from Venezuela, and he keeps pushing this fentanyl bullshit, or this lie, excuse my language. So I don't know how much it travels. Some people say, oh, it comes from China, and it goes to Venezuela, and it goes to Colombia and Mexico. Maybe. I'd like to see some evidence on these boats he's been bombing. I mean, show me a bag of cocaine that was put in the ocean after the boat exploded. I haven't seen any evidence that there were actual drugs. I heard a bag of marijuana washed up in Colombia. Maybe. That's not very great evidence, honestly. I mean, show me something there. All they're doing is killing these people, exploding the boats and saying it was a drug boat. But I haven't seen any evidence that there were drugs on there. I would like to see that. So why did he go there? It's for the oil, no doubt. And I don't know. I think Trump's on a little power kick, too. He saw how easy this was, and now he wants to flex his muscles a little bit. But it's not a good idea. We need to stop where we're at, make sure Venezuela's stabilized, and do things a little bit more diplomatically in the future. Right now, our company employs a lot of Venezuelans, by the way. We work very close with the Hispanic market, and a lot of Venezuelans work in our company, and I'm very close to them. I love a lot of them. And, of course, they're all very happy because they've been waiting for this day for freedom, because their families can't afford to live. They don't have to live in such poverty where you can't go to the grocery store. You can't do a lot of the things that you should be able to do. I'm happy for them. It is time Maduro ended because, honestly, there was no foreseeable end to his dictatorship. It was just kind of going on and on. We knew it was wrong. We knew he did bad things. We knew he would never help the people. We knew there was some drug activity related to his his presidency of the company. I don't know to the extent. I don't believe fentanyl, all that, but there was some drug activity going on. So it's good that he's not in charge. What's going to happen next is the question. And to sort of look at this, we want to look at history. Now, I'm not the first to do this. A lot of people have been going over this because the United States has attempted regime change many, many times over the years. I think I heard since 1948, we've attempted it about 70 times, 7-0. So America, it's nothing new for America to believe that their way of thinking is better than another country. Therefore, we're going to replace that country's government. That has not worked out. I don't know of any successful time when we've removed someone from power in another country, put someone else in, and all has been great ever since. I don't think so. You can correct me. You leave me a comment if you know of an example where this has worked out. I don't know one. Back in, I think it was 1954, there was a gentleman named Jacobo Arbenz. He was president of Guatemala. He had been elected. He was democratically elected as president of Guatemala. Now, he had a plan where he was going to divide all the land up in that country and give it to a lot of the poor peasants. So he was going to take land from some and give it to the poor, just redistribute it. There was a lot of unused land, and he was going to make sure everybody had something. And the land that he took, he paid those people a fair market value for that, and he did take the land. You could say, well, that's communist, that's socialist. But his goal was to sort of bring up poverty in Guatemala because many people were just very miserable there. So he did that. Just one problem. There was an American company there called United Fruit Company. They are now Chiquita Banana. But United Fruit Company is a very wealthy, or was very wealthy, and they were very connected to the American government. Many people in power had ties to that United Fruit Company, and they didn't want to see it go. So we overthrew our bins. We did a regime change. Why? Because they were threatening that company. They didn't threaten United States government or anything. When our Bens went and took land and redistributed, we yelled communism and then invaded and took the country from our Bens. We then established a military dictator instead of him, and there was over a 30-year civil war after we overthrew our Bens. So our efforts to regime change there left that country in complete misery and devastation, all to protect an American company. That's the truth. This is all known. This is not conspiracy stuff. That's Jacobo Arbenz in Guatemala. Now, many people know about Muammar Kadafi. He was head of Libya back in 2011. Now, Kadafi was said to be an evil dictator who suppressed other people's opinions, would throw you in jail, would have you killed, wouldn't allow you to do this. And he was tough. He was tough. But he also did a lot of good things for that country. Poverty, let's say literacy rates went from 25% to 75%. He gave free education and free health care to everybody. If you got married, I think he gave you a house. See, Libya had a lot of oil money, and he was able to use those oil profits to help his country. And the statistics of that country rose dramatically. People were happy. For the most part, people were happy. Yes, there were dissenters. There were people that were against him, and he did silence subversion or dissension pretty quick. So he got the reputation of being an evil dictator, but largely he helped that country. He was doing very good for it. He built a massive irrigation project throughout the country, which helped it also. So lots of great things. Well, Barack Obama didn't like him. And either at the urging of the army, the generals, or whatever, Barack and other countries, it wasn't just America, said, we're going to support Muammar Gaddafi's adversaries and help them overthrow Kadafi. And we did. And they did overthrow Kadafi, and he died in a very brutal manner. I won't go into the details, but it wasn't pretty. They captured him, tortured him, and killed him. After he was killed, the country of Libya went into complete chaos. Slave markets opened up. The poverty and everything returned. Like, it was complete anarchy and chaos after Kadafi was gone. Because even though he had many evil tendencies, I guess you could say, or many negative characteristics, he was holding together a stable country, and it was doing a lot for that country. But America didn't like him, so we decided to regime change. And it did not go well, and it still hasn't gone well. That poor country has been devastated ever since. It's similar to Saddam Hussein. We invaded Iraq. We overthrew Saddam. As soon as we did that, ISIS and all these other militant groups moved in, and it became even worse. Regime change has not turned out great in the past. I hope this is different. I don't know why it will be, but I hope it is. And I hope the Venezuelan people get that freedom and get the country that they deserve, because it could be a beautiful country. It's on the coast. It's got oil reserves. It's got everything going for it. Lots of potential. And I hope they get that. I don't necessarily trust the Trump administration to bring this off in just a happy ending. I don't. I hope they do. But so I'm cautiously optimistic. I hope that this happens. I do not encourage Trump to go into Colombia, to go into Panama, to go into Greenland, all this other crap that he's talking about. I hope he can set up some sort of stable governance for Venezuela. The idea of Trump running Venezuela is a complete joke, but hopefully there's some plan for this, because right now it doesn't seem like there's much of a plan. So even though this may seem great and successful right there at the outset, I don't know. It hadn't turned out well in the past. Hopefully, we can bring this off, and Americans and Venezuelans will live happily ever after. But as it goes for regime change, I would not, as Americans, support that as a remedy for problems in the world. It just hasn't gone well. It looks good at first. Hey, we're going to replace the bad guy. We're going to put in a good guy. Everything should be happy thereafter. It just hasn't worked that way. Whether we piss off Russia by throwing out Maduro, China then comes in. Suddenly we got world powers at odds with each other. I don't know how it could escalate into something. World War II escalated from a very tiny conflict into this country supporting this country, and this country supporting this country, and then this one supporting this, and it dominoed out into where we had a World War II, where, well, the millions and millions of people that died, I don't need to go into that, but it started simple. World War II wasn't a complicated conflict in the beginning. So, with all that said, let's hope Venezuela ends out well, but regime change is not good. I would not support that as an American, as somebody who is wanting a better country. There's better ways to do it. So let's hope Trump doesn't get carried away with this. All right, everybody. So listen, comment on here. Disagree with me. Tell me where I'm wrong. What am I missing? But I wish you would. Interact with me. Share this with your friends. Forward it to your friends and family. And we'll see you on the next Hines On Air.